You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Claret and Blue podcast. Today is a bonus episode, not one that we're going to stick a number on because I don't know when this is coming out. Today I'm joined by Max Stokes from the Villa on Tour YouTube channel. Max, how are you?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. We'll talk a little bit about Villa to begin with, but not about what's going on currently, because as I say, I don't know when this is out. We've just lost to Leicester yesterday as we're recording, so a little bit doom and gloom. But generally, how are you finding life back in the Premier League?
I don't think it's any different to what I would have been expecting. I know there was loads of different opinions going into the season, like a few people saying, let's aim for top half, and then the other side of people saying, you know, let's come 17th. But for me, I'm one of those people that just would take survival, because I think this is a project, and initially the first stage in the project would just be survive and then progress. And if we progress in every single season, I don't think there's much wrong with that. As we stand right now, I think we've had good results, you know, Everton and Norwich away especially. But, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just I think the performances have been good, but I just think there's a little bit of lack of experience in terms of throwing away leads. We were taking the lead at the majority of big clubs. So, yeah, there's a lot to build on. I think as the season goes on, the new players will gel and things like that. But right now, I'm not too scared about relegation or anything like that. But I think there's a lot to build on, and hopefully we can just get better. What
were your thoughts pre-season before a ball was kicked? Were you one of those guys that were 17th I'll take, or were you kind of aiming for higher than that? So I was aiming high for that.
Yeah, I think it kind of changed. Like, as soon as we got promoted, I was like, right, we're going to sign a load of players. Grealish is going to stay. We're going to spend loads.
Which did happen.
Well, yeah, I know, but let's go and get top half. That's what I was thinking. But when you get to Tottenham first game of the season, it's like it puts it into perspective a little bit. But yeah. And overall, I probably would have taken 17th, to be honest. Like I said, it's a project, and there's a lot of good teams in the Premier League, especially this season as well. I don't think there's a standout, you know, poor team. I know Watford are struggling, but they've been in the Premier League, you know, a few years now, so you never know what's going to happen. So it's going to be tough. I think there's going to be a high points tally in order to stay up. Whether the 40 points, you know, standard margin is going to do it, I'm not sure. But
I think it'll be less.
Really?
Yeah. It's not been 40 for a couple of years.
True, but then there was the likes of Fulham, Cardiff last season, but now Southampton, they've picked up a decent win. I know they lost, but it's going to be difficult, isn't it? But we'll see.
So we'll talk a bit about you as well, because obviously this podcast, for a little brief explanation, people that don't know me, I came from the Villa YouTube channel, now working for Reach, based at the Birmingham Mail. So I've come from this kind of digital new era of media, new media as people like to call it, versus traditional media. So I've kind of come from the new media of YouTube and now working at a more traditional news outlet. So I kind of have come from the background of understanding the YouTube world and these kind of things, and like we're talking off camera about thumbnails and tags and these kind of things that are so important to video these days. So I want to kind of shine a light back on the community that I've just left, because I know how many Villa kind of fan media outlets there are. We've started our podcast, but there's already at least 4 podcasts off the top of my head that are already out there, that are already established and doing well. So I know how difficult it is to kind of get recognition from traditional media, to put air quotes around it for those that are just listening. So I kind of feel like now I'm in that position that I can kind of help bring new eyes to your stuff as well, so that people that have come from a more traditional background won't maybe understand YouTube and the podcast world that well.
Yeah, there is a barrier between traditional
100%.
media and YouTube. Whether, you know, people just don't understand it or aren't familiar with it, I'm not too sure. But especially with Villa as well, like it's blown up in the last couple of years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like before when we were back in the Premier League last time, just before we got relegated, there wasn't anything really. I know the Villa View started in the relegation season, but before that, I don't think there was anything. And, you know, they've all come about at once, and I think it's a really good thing, because Villa is a massive club, and there's lots of people, America, Australia, everywhere, that follow Villa, and the fact that they can feel closer to the club is really good throughout. You know, it's not like one specific Villa outlet, there's lots of different things doing different
with
things.
different opinions as well.
Exactly, and that's what lots of different ages as well, which is why I think it works really well, and I think the only way is up for it.
Well, even going back to kind of 2010, 2011, even things like Twitter and stuff like that weren't as big as they are now. Social media, like clubs having accounts with millions of followers wasn't a thing back then. So I kind of feel like the way football is represented digitally has changed massively in the last decade, and YouTube has only really been a part of that for the last 5 years maybe. Arsenal Fan TV obviously weren't they with the main
Don't start
ones,
with them.
with the first ones into this kind of world. But without them paving the way for others, maybe we wouldn't be doing the same thing anyway, because they kind of made it acceptable to film games and podcasts and things like that for football, specifically in the Premier League. So a lot has changed in the last 5 years, and now, as you say, in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, Villa View was the first video fan site, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Which was in 2016, the year we went down. Still going now, and we've kind of, you now look at the Villa community on social media and things like that, and you could scroll through Twitter and see 5 or 6 different accounts, all with big followings that people care about, but also, as much as they're all talking about Villa, everyone's doing their own little thing, which I quite like. There isn't really much overlap that you can kind of... So when we started our Villa podcast 2 weeks ago, there was a few comments saying, there's already 5 podcasts out there, like, do we need another one? It's a lot of hours in the week to be able to listen to stuff, and everyone kind of, as much as we're all talking about Villa losing to Leicester, we've all kind of do it in our own little way.
I think that's why it works well. There's lots of different styles as well. I think there's podcasts, vlogs like what I do. I think a lot of podcasts are maybe funny, some are more serious and informative, and I think you can listen to all of them. I think I listen to pretty much all of them.
Yeah, same.
And if they're all the same, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it wouldn't be worth it, and I get different opinions from each one, and just different. I like hearing, because you get to know people as well, which I like, and you get to know them, and you want to hear their thoughts after a game. So that's what I like about it.
I want to come back to that. That's a good reminder. I mean, you'll see that I've got no notes prepared for this podcast, and you might be able to tell as we go through it. But on the fact that there's already so many out there, it's like you say, if we were all doing the same thing, there wouldn't be so many, because people would like radiate to just one, and the others would kind of fade out a little bit. The fact that there's 4 or 5 very successful Villa podcasts / YouTube channels with Villa View and yourself, it shows that there's a demand for it. And I kind of feel like if you've got one podcast a week and you commute to work every day, say an hour, which is fairly short if you work in the city, you might get one podcast for one day. If there's 5 podcasts out there's enough there to fill your working week of train journeys or whatever. I always felt like if you give Villa fans the content, and I mean part of that means you have to be playing well, people will consume it, because they always just want to seem to want more.
Well, let's be honest, we're all obsessed with the Villa, and I'll bring this back to myself. This morning, I was listening to one on the train here. I was listening to another one on the train home. I'll probably listen to another one.
Listening to ours on the way back.
I will 100% listen to yours. Yeah, I think it works really well. Like I said, they're all different, and if they're all the same, it wouldn't be as successful as it is. And I think, like I said, it's such a big club, and there's loads and loads of people that want to hear what different people have to say all across the world, and I think that's brilliant. So yeah, long may it continue. It's only going to get bigger as well. Whether there'll be more in the future, whether others will just disappear, I don't know, but it'll only get bigger and only get more successful, which is good.
So let's talk about your kind of Villa fandom then. When did it start? Obviously you're a little bit younger than myself, but not by much.
Okay.
What is it? How old are you now? 19?
I'm 18.
18. Okay, so 6 years. Oh, that is a little bit. So Villa being back in the Premier League now. I bet you don't remember the last time we were doing well in the Premier League, do you? Under O'Neill.
Oh no, not O'Neill. No, that was before my time, unfortunately.
Mate.
I know, that's mad. Does that make you feel old?
Yes. So I was going to say, like, for me as a Villa fan, O'Neill was like my introduction to Villa. We were finishing top 6 Europe, like we're playing well, like it's a good times under O'Neill. Some bad times, but some good times as well. So I was thinking that you'd remember that as well, and that would be kind of our era. So you only remember what, Lambert, maybe?
McLeish.
Oh
yeah, your face says it all. That was when I first started getting into it. I think you see loads of kids these days, 3, 4, 5 going to Villa, but I think my first game was when I was 10.
I was quite late into it as well.
Yeah, because I think my nan likes football, but my mum and dad don't don't go every week, don't even really like Villa before I came along, so I don't really know why
Terrible.
I'm so obsessed with it. But yeah, I was 10, so that was 2011, and it was
2011. You were born in 01?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And that's when McLeish was there, and we had Charles and Zogbier and Bonlahor and Bent scoring. Oh, God.
Good times.
So, literally, the playoff season we won was like the best I've ever seen of
That's
anything.
mad.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that 10-game winning run and Wembley is probably my favourite Villa memory anyway, even regardless of O'Neill. That's mad. I really thought, even though I know how old you are, I still thought you would have been around for the O'Neill era. I suppose it was 10 years ago.
I was speaking to a guy on the train going to the game yesterday, and he said he was 50-something, and he said the playoff final was better, not obviously better than the European Cup, but it was better than the League Cups in the 90s.
Really? Some people will disagree with that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they will, but each their own. I think it's just what it meant to the club. Obviously, winning a League Cup is brilliant, but what it meant to the club in terms of getting back where it belongs, and even financially these days, it's absolutely massive. So, the playoff final was the best thing I've ever seen Villa do. I mean, it's not hard because we have been pretty dreadful in the last 7, 8 years.
9 of the last 10 years. Yeah,
exactly. So, it's brilliant how we are now, and hopefully the only way is up.
So when I talk about the age of digital football media progressing in the last 10 years, you've grown up with that. You've grown up with Twitter being a thing for stuff for social media and football. Whereas for me, when I first started going in 06, I think it was, there was nothing like that then. So we've kind of all like the clubs doing more video stuff has been something that came through over the years. Obviously social media. Whereas now you kind of look at football, almost feels like it couldn't exist without that kind of stuff.
True. I think
imagine a football club that wasn't on Twitter now.
Yeah, I think there's positives and negatives to that.
100%.
I don't want to dig people out, but we've already touched on one of them.
Go for it.
Arsenal Fan TV.
Okay. They won't be listening.
No, I'm sure I think they've got better things to be doing, but I just don't like them at all. The way they go about business is not great. But like you said, I think I've grown up with it. I didn't go to every single game when I started going to Villa. I did 3 or 4 a season.
Yeah.
So obviously
that was a lot for back then.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah,
fair play to you.
So the digital side of things is what sort of got me into it so much, and it has helped.
Yeah,
has helped, and all these channels going around these days helps the knowledge of the younger generation if they can't get to every game. Because I know getting away tickets, especially now, is
getting home tickets is bad enough at the moment.
Yeah. It's really, really hard. So if you're at the game and you can express your opinion more, and it's only going to help the knowledge and experience of the younger people.
Do you find that you being in front of camera delivering an opinion now comes with any kind of pressure?
A little bit.
Do you are you wary of can't say this, or I don't want to kind of slate this player, or I don't want to praise this player for any kind of reason?
At the start, no, probably not. When I started doing it, I didn't really bother me. But now I've got to a point where people know me. They sort of, I don't want to upset anyone. That might sound bad, but of course I've got my own opinion. But I think I'm fairly sensible when it comes to that sort of thing. So I am a little bit worried about upsetting people with opinions and stuff, but not really.
Have you ever adjusted a video, kind of either the production of it or the editing of it, to kind of take things out or add things in to kind of countering your own opinion, to kind of play devil's advocate just in case? I remember doing that a couple of times.
Yeah, I think I'll use Leicester as an example because that's the most recent game. When I'm filming, I do get a little bit angry in the stands. If Wesley's not doing anything right or he's in the wrong position, I do lash out, and sometimes the camera might be on. Most of the time it's not, because I don't film for a lot of the game.
Yeah.
But if I do and I say something, obviously I'll cut it out. Even if the people around me say something bad, I'll obviously cut it out. But most of the time I just say what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what people have subscribed for. That's what they want to see.
So how did it start then? How did Villa on Tour? First of all, explain for people that don't know what Villa on Tour is and the success that it's got.
Okay.
And how that came about. Basically,
the whole premise of it is me and my mates go to a game, obviously mostly Villa games, but we'll come on to the second channel at some point. We just go to the Villa game, have a laugh, and we just document our day, like the day as a whole, not just the game. You know, we'll go to the game on the coach, we'll have a laugh, we'll have a sing-song in the concourse or anything like that. And I'll just document that, we'll have a laugh. And I think why it's worked so well is the humour behind it, because we're young lads, we're literally just having a laugh on an away day. And I think that's why it does well. I document my thoughts during the game. I try and show goal reactions, which I think works really well. A lot of people don't agree with filming at games.
We'll talk about that.
We will, I'm sure we will. But, you know, I don't mind. It doesn't affect them completely, but I enjoy doing it, and that's the main thing. So yeah, how it started, I think it's a bit of a funny one actually, because my sister, who's a couple of years older than me, had a YouTube channel.
Really?
Doing things.
Is that still around?
Don't
tell
I
your
don't
audience.
Think so. I don't think so. But she did like makeup and lifestyle things like that.
Different audience.
Yeah, completely. Well, it might cross. I might do makeup at some point, but we'll think about
there's
it.
an exclusive.
Yeah.
Get that on Twitter.
But she went off to, I think it was sixth form or uni or something like that, so she had to stop, and she was like, oh, do you want my camera? And I didn't have any thoughts about doing a YouTube channel back then. I was just like, yeah, why not? I've got nothing better to do. I might try a few things.
Wow.
And this was about the same sort of time where I started going to Villa home and away. So I just thought one day, Barnsley away back in 2017, why not take it along and just, it was only like a 2-3 minute video. I just tried to get the goal reactions, and thankfully it was a good game to go to. We won 3-0. I remember the Keenan Davis scenes was very, very mad. And I just think, you know, it was a bit of a funny one. I just thought I've always been interested in like cameras and media, and to combine that with going to the Villa, I just thought, why not? And then I edited that video, and then I thought the next game in the Cup against Middlesbrough at home, why not do it there? And then just kept doing it. It got a little bit of a following. The first season I started doing it was the second season of the Championship, so we lost to Fulham at Wembley. And, you know,
that was your first full season?
Yeah.
Wow. It feels like you've been around longer than that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I think it was ticking along nicely that season, but it was the season we actually went up that it took off.
Yeah.
I think the 10-game run was mental for the club and the channel in particular. The subscribers I got during that period was really, really good, and that's when I started getting, you know, more recognition and things like that. And since then it's taken off, and to go up as well is just aligned perfectly.
Yeah. Does that kind of thing still motivate you, like views and subscribers, or has that never been a factor? Is it always just, I'm just going to film and see what happens? Or do you ever get to a point where you kind of were looking at the numbers and thought, I quite like where this is going and I want to kind of push that?
Initially, when I started doing it, it didn't bother me because there wasn't a following there. So obviously I knew the numbers weren't going to be high. But I'm going to be totally honest, I am looking at the numbers because I want people to see what I'm doing. But now, that was last season, but now I've got to the point where I'm going to do it anyway. The numbers don't really bother me. I enjoy doing it and people enjoy watching it. The numbers don't really bother me right now. They did, because that's only a natural reaction. But
are they still going up, the numbers?
I think last season was where it peaked. It's still steady now, but because I think I've appealed to as many Villa fans as I can. There's a lot of people that watch my stuff that aren't Villa fans, which I think is really, really good. Yeah, because they're not watching because of Villa, they're watching because of me and my personality and my mates who are having a laugh and things like that. But the numbers of you know, steady. They're still going up, but they have steadied because of I've appealed to as many Villa fans as I can. So, you know, it will still go up because of other fans and things like that. But right now, it's just pottering along nicely.
Good word, that, pottering along. How do you? So obviously, coming from the Villa View, which is the only, correct me if I'm wrong, the only other Villa YouTube channel of any size, let's say at least. How did you find that competition, again in air quotes for those that aren't listening, not watching, sorry, between yourself and the Villa View? Did you ever feel kind of and I know we've talked about this off camera a lot of times, but how did you really feel about it?
I've got massive respect for the Villa View, because before I did Villa on Tour, I was a fan of the Villa View and I'd subscribed to them.
Yeah, I remember.
I
remember the comments.
Yeah, I commented on every video and stuff. And then I went on fan cams once, and that was like, it must have been a couple of months before I started doing stuff.
I think that was Norwich.
Yeah, it was.
I remember you talking about this before.
And I looked absolutely petrified on fan cams, and I just wanted to be on it and then I watched the fan cams footage back on the Villa View, and I was like, oh my God, that's me. And I know that's really weird, like, to, you know, compared to now, but I've got a lot of respect for the Villa View. obviously I think I overtook them at some point last year, but obviously there is a little bit friendly banter there and competition and stuff, but
you never looked at it as kind of they've got 15,000, like, I want to beat that.
There's no like hatred or anything there at all. Like, you lot have done brilliant. I think it works really well because they're different styles. Like, if you were doing things that I wanted to do, I probably wouldn't do it because I don't want to copy you.
Them now.
Yes, I can't. Yeah, I need to get my head around that. It's weird. But yeah, I do different things to the Villa View, and the Villa View do different things than me. So I think people can watch both, like we touched on earlier, and not get bored. So I think that's why it works well. But I like the Villa View. I still watch all their stuff, and yeah, I have a lot of respect for them.
Yeah, it's. I remember talking about it with you. We did a video when we were still on the Villa View. Well, when I was still on the Villa View, kind of, it was before the 10-game winning run, wasn't it?
March.
It was just before it was starting.
Yeah.
We did it as a Blues special, didn't we? Like, we teamed up as a channel and went big on the Blues game. So Jack had just come back, hadn't he? Did he score against Derby the week before? Was that after?
Yeah, it was a few days before Blues. I think that we did it after Derby.
Yes. So we're kind of talking about Jack coming back and all these different things. We don't know what's to come at that point, so we do a video and we do a little bit where we talk about some of the things we're talking about today, kind of YouTube and behind the scenes type stuff. I remember that going out, and it was the first time that we'd done a video together, you and I. And there were some comments that came across as if we were like against each other, and there was a rivalry there, and we hated each other. And we look at it and we laugh at it, and your guys and our guys kind of look at it and go, we respect each other. We know what each other's doing. Whereas the outside perception was that, well, we must hate each other because we're both going for like the same title, so to speak. Whereas, as you say, if we're both doing different things, we always looked at it as a complementary kind of deal where you could watch your match video and then our podcast the following day. Like, there's no reason why you would pick one over the other.
Yeah, I think it works well that way as well. I'm friends with like the Villa View. Like, I've been for drinks with them and things like that. And Dan Bardell, before Chelsea, even on Wednesday, someone said they spotted him on the stairs on the way up to the toilet in the pub, and they were like, "Oh, Max Stokes is downstairs. Do your egos not clash?"
It's like to fight.
I don't know what people actually expect between us. Like, I don't hate him. We are genuinely friends.
Yeah.
Like, we enjoy doing the same stuff in terms of fan media and things like that. So obviously there is a little friendly competition there, but at the end of the day, we're friends and we enjoy what we do and we get along really well. So there's no issue there.
I mean, it was always inevitable that you were going to overtake us as well, because we were growing steadily, and it would be a few hundred subscribers here and there, whereas you'd come along with a video and it'd be a few thousand would pop up out of nowhere, and you'd know that you're going to overtake it eventually. Whereas from our perspective, or my perspective, I didn't care at that point. So this is something I want to ask you about. There was a time where I wanted to get into sports media as a job, as a career, for the last 5 years probably, if not more. Yeah, more. When I left college, so 6 years. And I went for job interviews at different places. One of them was at Villa. Obviously didn't get it, otherwise I wouldn't be here. And we were doing the Villa View at that point. So I kind of felt then that the Villa View had become a good enough portfolio that I could at least get job interviews off the back of it. Whether I could land the job is obviously another matter. So that was 2017 probably. So as you're basically starting your channel, I'm thinking with mine, I can use the Villa View to showcase my ability and hopefully get a full-time job in the career that I want. That's like the aim. Is there ever been a point, or have you got to a point now where you kind of have those same feelings? Obviously, if you're interested in cameras and stuff and you're doing media work, I would assume that working in media is an ambition.
Yeah, definitely. This is the sort of industry that I want to be in.
So have you recognised that the Villa on Tour can help you get there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
When did that come about? When you overtook us? Yeah,
when it started getting like the biggest channel on YouTube, I thought this could take me personally somewhere in terms of a job in the future.
Yeah.
I still right now most people probably don't know this, but I'm taking a gap year to fully focus on it and set up the Villa on Tour shop, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Nice mug.
Yeah, not yet. So yeah, that's it. I want to do this as a job in the future. Obviously, the Villa on Tour is not going to go forever. Obviously, I'm going to grow up and grow out of it, I suppose. But I'm never going to grow out of my interest in football and media and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So at the end of this gap year, I will.
Where are you going? Where are you travelling?
Well, I don't have the money for it. I will look into getting job or an apprenticeship or things like that to do with this sort of thing?
Yeah. So when I got this job working with Reach, I did a series of tweets. So obviously, I can't do the Villa View while I do this job because I'm doing Villa content. I can't do both. That's perfectly normal, and I was happy to accept that the Villa View would carry on without me, and it still is. Everyone's happy, perfect. I did a series of tweets with like my kind of almost best moments of the Villa View, so kind of standout things we did. And I did a tweet that said what I said to you just about. I realised that this could be a portfolio for work, and I had a few people kind of dispute that or kind of argue against it. They're like, oh, you should be in it for the content, you should be in it for the fans that support you, not for personal gain. And I was kind of like, well, it's my channel, so
Yeah.
I do what I want. But I knew that because I wanted to get into this industry, having a portfolio there with what, 15,000 followers, 500 videos, whatever it is, obviously I'm going to put that on a CV if I'm trying to get into this industry. Like if you just want a job building houses or whatever, obviously it's not going to be relevant. But when your job and your hobby are the same thing, there's no way that I wouldn't realise that the Villa View is good enough and strong enough to impress in an interview. How would you kind of react to that if you got a job somewhere now and said, right, Villa on Tour was a brilliant experience and it's now got me a job working at Sky Sports, and someone said, nah, that's wrong, mate, you're looking at it the wrong way?
I'd still want to continue it.
What if you couldn't though?
What if I couldn't?
Because I would imagine if you get a job in sports media, you won't be able to do both.
That's a tough one. Because I see Villa on Tour as like, it's like my child and I've created it, which is a little bit weird. But
I'm the same.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. It depends, you know, how it might sound a bit weird, but how Villa are doing and how the channel's doing in terms of success. But right now,
and when this is as well.
Yeah, if it's like the end of the season and it's still growing, I wouldn't really want to stop it. But at the end of the day, if it's a good job, then, you know, I'd have to make that decision at the point. But right now, I'm enjoying doing Villa on Tour, and I just want to continue doing it as long as I can.
So I don't want to go on about the Villa View too much, because obviously it's not something I'm involved with anymore, and they're kind of doing their own thing now. And it's funny actually, because it's weird for me to see it, like you were just saying about being your baby. It's weird when I see a notification come through, they've uploaded a video, because every video up until September, I would have hit upload on it. So now I see it come through, I'm like, where's that video come from? That wasn't me.
Yeah,
that's a bit weird to get over. But how do you kind of assess your audience base for YouTube? Because I always looked at ours as having kind of the 24 to 30 market of being a little bit older for podcasts, obviously usually a bit of an older listen. Looking at your stuff and your comment section and the replies to tweets and stuff, it would seem that it's more of a younger audience that watch your content.
Oh yeah.
How is that you understand that you're making content for a younger audience? Do you have to be careful about what you do, what you say, things like that?
Initially, when I started it, I didn't think this will appeal to the younger people more than it maybe would the older people, but you can tell by the people I speak to, like home games, it's the kids that, you know, are excited to see Villa on Tour.
Have pictures with you.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly. And I still think that's a bit mad, but at the end of the day, I just keep on making the content that I enjoy, and if whoever enjoys that, that's brilliant. But I think, yeah, it is because it's for the younger people, because of the way that the videos like sort of go about, in terms of we enjoy ourselves, we have a laugh, and I think the humour is why the younger people enjoy it. And, you know, football vlogs are a new thing, and I don't think, you know, maybe the older people sort of get it or have ever experienced somebody vlogging at a football match, whereas, you know, younger people are growing up with it. Well, yeah, a lot more people are doing it, and they're exposed to it a little bit more. But obviously I still get a wide range of audience watching it. There's still adults and things that watch my stuff, but it's definitely more, you know, well, I don't say children based, but the younger audience
under
based.
18.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but it doesn't bother me. Whoever enjoys it, they can watch it. It doesn't really bother me.
Yeah. How did you feel when you were first approached, when someone recognised you for the first time and asked for a photograph? I
remember this. It was QPR away when Adoma scored twice in 2017, end of 2017. Somebody commented on the video, "I saw you, Max," and I was like, "What? How can you? How? What? In the away end? What do you mean?" Because like, that was the point where I didn't really put my face on videos too much, and that just like blew my mind a little bit. But when somebody asked for a photo the first time, I can't remember when it was, but that's just
You've had so
weird. Yeah, well, it's just strange. It is like, I'm just me doing with a camera and stuff. It's strange that people enjoy it that much that they want to have a photo with me. And obviously, I'm blessed that that's a thing, but
Yeah.
it's still very strange. I've had to sign a program once as well, which was strange. But
I remember that. I thought I was there, wasn't I, when that happened? I think.
possibly.
Sure, I was there for that.
But that's mad. And even having photos of people like not at a Villa game, like
Yeah.
in the middle of Morrison's or
Yeah,
something.
that's the weirdest.
That is the weirdest, and obviously I love it, and I really enjoy the fact that people enjoy my stuff as well so much that they want to have a photo with me.
Yeah, it was always different for me because I was always usually with Dan, and obviously Dan would be in front of camera, and for a long time I was never on camera at all. I was always behind it. So someone would come over and be like, "Can I have a picture?" And I would often take the picture, and no one would even care who I was. And I liked that for a long time, and I started doing more videos and started being a bit more vocal on Twitter, and people started to recognise me then as well. Obviously, less so if I'm on my own. I can almost always get away with it. Occasionally I'll get one or two people even now, which is fine. I don't kind of dislike it. Don't really like it either. But if I'm on my own, I'll get away with it. If I'm with Dan or when Matt was there or with you or whatever, then people will recognise me because of association with who I'm with. So that was always a little bit weird for me. Like, I never really liked it. I'd happily do it, and I'm happy to meet people and speak to people, but the photo thing was always a bit weird to me. I just, something about it just didn't quite click in my head. Like, why would you want a photo of me on your phone?
That was what I thought.
Why would you want to post it?
Yeah, when people started doing it, I was like, why do you want to? I have actually said, some people came up to me and they say, "Can I have a photo?" And I was like, why? And like, that might come across as a bit rude because I just don't appreciate people enjoying my stuff that much that they want a photo. But I'm always happy to speak to people, and like when I'm walking through the concourse, people say, "I love your stuff," and that makes me continue what I'm doing because I really, really like that. And the photos thing is just a bonus. It's just strange.
What's the weirdest fan kind of interaction you've had?
Signing a program. I was just hanging around in the Hot End car park. I mean, I'm not going to say no. I'm happy to do pretty much anything if people want me to.
For money.
Yeah, don't clip that. But yeah, signing a program, it's like, I'm not a player.
Yeah.
I'm just a kid with a camera. But yeah, I enjoy it. I like it.
What do you think about the whole kind of fan media vlogger world kind of being famous? Isn't the right word, but almost, I suppose it's kind of locally famous that at Villa Park,
community.
At Villa Park, you are a recognisable face.
I think I don't mind it. I think there's a lot of football vloggers. Every football vlog is different for every different club.
Yeah,
and there's even football vloggers that I don't like. Like there's
no, don't say.
I'll tell you off camera. There's lots that do different styles and act differently and have different personalities. But I think why mine works well is because it's just not just me, it's my mates and like my sort of friendship group that people enjoy sort of being with on camera, and we just have a laugh and have funny instances and things like that, and that's why people like it. But like you said, not famous, but when I go to Villa Park, you do get recognised, which is brilliant, and people saying they enjoy your stuff, like that spurs me on and motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing.
Talk to me a little bit about the negative sides of vlogging then. So I've seen comments before on social media, put your phone away, enjoy the game, why have you got to film yourself, that kind of thing. How do you kind of react to that kind of stuff?
I've got used to it now. At the start it bothered me, like mentally, people having a go at you on Twitter and things like that. I've only actually had anyone have a go at me in real life once.
Really?
And that
what
was
happened there?
I think Middlesbrough away when we beat them 3-0 about a year ago. I was just, standard camera by my chest, not in the air or anything like that, just filming kickoff, 2-second clip. I hear this voice about 4 or 5 rows behind say, "Put the camera away." And
wow.
It like, if you're not into football vlogging, that's absolutely fine with me. It doesn't bother me at all. Just don't watch it.
Yeah.
But
like me?
Yeah. You watch every video, I know you do. But it doesn't harm anyone. Like, if I was going around shoving cameras in people's faces and saying, "What do you think of this? What do you think of this?" I'd understand why people wouldn't like it, but I keep myself to myself, keep the camera close to me, only film for about 10 minutes of a game, don't have it out for 90 minutes, which I think some people think I do. But I think on social media, people are behind profile pictures of footballers and they just think, I can abuse him here because I'm not right in front of him. If you were face to face with me, you wouldn't say those sort of things. And there's an example at Man United away. where there was someone that had threatened me on social media, and then I'd come face to face with them in the concourse, and they just spoke to me about like, how was the game, how's it going, how's Grealish playing, and things like that.
How old was that person?
20 something, early 20s. So I think it's the sort of younger lad, you know, Stone Island wearing people that think.
But do you think your content attracts that though?
Attracts what?
Attracts that person. Because
Sort
of what it is, going away, having a drink,
yeah, it's
that kind of stuff.
Because that's what we do.
Without stereotyping.
Yeah, we are young lads going on away days, having a drink on the coach, having a good sing-song. And I think, you know, the people that are giving me stick for what I do, they think, let's get absolutely mortally drunk with the lads. But that's not what I do. I don't want to do that. I just want to document it so people around the world can see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the social media is the worst thing about it. That's the most negative thing. But in terms of real life, I'm not too bothered about the social media thing, because I know in real life no one is really going to do anything. I mean, now I've said that, someone will probably punch me in the concourse. But yeah, I know face to face, 99% of the time, comments are, you know, I love your channel, love your videos, keep doing what you're doing, and things like that. So that just motivates me even more. See,
I think there's a kind of a mental health argument to be had here with social media for this kind of thing, that if you've got a video that's got 100 comments, 99 are I love this, well done, and one is I hate you, you're ugly, content's rubbish, blah blah blah. I mean, maybe this is just me before I go off on this tangent. I would care about that one more than the 99.
Agree.
As much as that is literally 1% in this example, and it's very easy to look at those 99 and go, oh yeah, kind of pat yourself on the back. That one would annoy me more than anything else, and I would fester on that 1%. Absolutely agree.
I think the majority of my comments are brilliant, you know, love the video, great video, etc. But there's always going to be negative ones, and it's just a normal human reaction, isn't it, to take that one to heart.
It's like self-defense, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think you feel inclined to reply to them and things like that, but I try not to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, all the positive ones you sort of scroll past and give it a like or whatever, and kind of ignore it, and then you see a bad one, you think, oh, I've got to reply to that. Like, I need to put him right.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you enjoy it, sort of thing. I don't want to come across arrogant.
I'm not even sure it's that. It's just, it's probably a sense of kind of feeling attacked, maybe, that what have I done to sort of elicit that response?
Should I talk about the Blues scarf situation?
Yes, I was going to ask, because when you said about I've not really had any negative experiences in real life, I was like, well, I can think of at least one.
Okay, true. Okay, so if anyone doesn't know, I was, I think it was, I don't know, Tuesday night at some point. I was travelling back home on the train, pretty empty, and it was after a Blues game, and I was just sat in the carriage, you know, just listening to music, whatever.
What are you listening to?
The Claret and Blue podcast from Dan Rollinson.
Nice answer.
And a load of lads come storming in and shove cameras in my face, and I know they're Blues fans because they've got scarves and stuff, and I'm just there. There's about 7 of them, so what do you expect me to do? There's not much I can do. I'm not going to fight back because I'm not that sort of person, and there's only one of me. And they've all got their phones out because, firstly, how do they know who I am? Like, you've clearly watched my videos. Cheers, lads.
Yeah. Thanks for the money.
Yeah. I've said that before. I'm not going to say that on Twitter because you think you're KSI anyway. They're all on Snapchat and they throw a scarf around me, a blue scarf, and I'm like, nice one. Throw it straight off, obviously, and then they got a photo of me when I had it round me, but obviously I threw it straight off. But that photo makes it look like
you were wearing it.
They pressured me to do it, and that was the comment on Twitter. It was like, oh, look at this Villa on tour lad. They pressured him to wear a blue scarf. Well, he didn't.
That from a Villa fan said that?
Well, everyone said that.
Okay.
I think when we played Newcastle the other day, someone was like, hate Grealish, and then the same guy, you know, with a thread to that tweet, showed the photo of me in a blue scarf and said, could never be my club. Like, what have I got to do with anything? And it's like, yeah, that did affect me mentally, because the abuse I got on Twitter in that period was absolutely mental. And I privated my account, and that's when it, you know, that's got it even worse, because like, he's scared.
Yeah, I saw the account go private, and I was like, oh, I know, that feels like that's going to annoy them more.
But like, I don't care at that point. People going through my old Facebook posts as well when I was 11 years old, which is weird behaviour.
That is odd.
But and then there was people threatening me, but would you do it in real life? I hope not.
I think this is, I mean, we're at risk of getting deep here. As much as this is a social media issue, I think this is a society issue. with the younger generation. I think there's a massive lack of respect between younger people. I would never even dream of going up to a group of Birmingham fans, or one Birmingham fan with a group of Villa fans and going, let's like take the mick out of this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what mentally you need to go through to think, yeah, that's a good idea.
I think it's because, I don't want to seem arrogant, but they clearly know who I am.
Yeah,
and they
obviously.
think if they put that on Twitter, it will get a reaction.
Bang some retweets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I was just a nobody and they knew I was if I had a Villa scarf on, they didn't know who I was, but they could identify that I was a Villa fan, they wouldn't do anything.
No.
It's just because they know if they put that on social media, Instagram, Twitter, they'll know that people will laugh at me and they'll get a reaction. There was a Blues fan account that put the video up, or put the photo up, and it got the most likes out of any picture they've ever posted.
Wow.
And it's like...
Good research.
Mental. I like the obsession. And then I put on Twitter, "Vot the obsession." And that kicked off even more, but that got to the point where I just started laughing at things.
So how do you deal with that then? How do you get over that mental side of things? Obviously everyone's different, but how did you kind of get past that with it now doesn't bother you?
I tried to stay off Twitter, but I couldn't, because I just can't, because you see the notifications coming, you just want to see what people are saying.
Do you check what people are saying about you?
Yeah. I don't search my own name or anything like that, but if somebody tags me in something, I'll look at it. If you tag me in anything, I will see it. I'm not that big that I get that many notifications that I won't see anything. I do see everything. So I just kind of get on with it. There's not much I can do. Like, I'm not going to reply to every single one, because if I do, that'll just spur them on, and that's what they want. So I just ignore it. That's the only thing I can do. I found just ignore it, and they will forget about me. That was like a week where that was all Blues were talking about, me in the scarf. But I knew in a couple of weeks they'll forget about me. So I don't care.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because part of me wants to say, and this is a wrong opinion, but this is something that just comes naturally, that you put yourself out there, so you're open to ridicule.
Yeah.
But that's not the right attitude to have. That nobody should be kind of, again, air quotes, attacked like that. And I'm not saying they kind of physically assault you or anything like that, but to come up to somebody and do that is weird. It's not something you would do normally, because of who you are and that you're a recognisable face. It kind of makes it okay to them, I guess.
Oh yeah, but there's not much I can do about it though.
No, we're specifically talking about Birmingham fans here, and I don't want to go in on them at all, because this is a problem with people everywhere. I think this lack of respect and stuff like that. It's just not good, is it? It's not good for people, and when we're just kind of sat behind a computer screen at home, and your notifications are going wild with abuse and stuff. That's a difficult scenario to be in, and people won't understand what that feels like unless they've been through it. And I've not been through it to anywhere near that extent. I know Dan, who I used to work with on the Villa View, he got a massive amount of stick at one point last year or the year before, I think it was. And that's difficult to go through. And as much as people can say, I've got a thick skin, I'll be all right, and that's what you want to put on outwardly, it gets to a point where if it keeps happening, like if these Blues fans were still going on at you now every day for a month, that would start to build up as much as you want to brush it off.
But the thing is now, even from fans of other clubs, I'm known as that kid who got the blue scarf thrown on him. Like that's
the internet for you.
Yeah, exactly. I went to Bristol Rovers the other day, and I said something about them on Twitter, and then someone quote tweeted it saying, "Oh, is this the kid that was in the blue scarf?" It's like,
wow,
like really? Yeah, I don't mind. I know it will have died down. Initially, it did affect me because that's just natural, but I knew it would die down, and that was what kept me going, really.
Has there ever been any other instances, or just singular comments, or one person repeatedly saying things that you thought, mate, will you just do me a favour and go?
Not really that I can think of. There's always, if I'm walking through the street, I have had a few people shout things about Villa, and obviously they're not Villa, and things like that. But that's fine by me. That doesn't bother me at all. It's just a laugh, and that's fine. But it gets to the point where people are things on social media. So social media is mad, isn't it? The things people say,
especially when Villa lose.
The things people say when they're sat behind a computer screen, but then fail to do so when they see you in real life. It's just, what can you do?
And I suppose it depends on, again, it's a mentality thing, isn't it, of how you deal with that situation. That if it's a barrage of abuse, you've got every right to kind of back off and feel attacked by that. For me, because it was never that bad, when I used to get negative comments, it was usually just one or two here or there, or a 3 or 4 from the same person. occasionally you'd see a few and you'd think, oh mate, will you just go away now? Like you're starting to do my head in a bit here. If it's semi-infrequent or rare, I find it funny.
Yeah.
Which is maybe also the wrong attitude to have.
No, I think it's funny as well. The thing, if I get a comment on Twitter, I'll just retweet it.
Yeah, I like doing
to let you know my followers.
If it's on YouTube, I'll send a screenshot of it and post it. Probably like, oh, another one for the scrapbook there, or
exactly.
the positive comments.
Yeah, but you just gotta laugh at it unless it gets to the point where it's worrying or whatever.
Yeah,
you just gotta laugh at it because it's just people sat on Twitter having a go.
There's a guy on my Twitter last night asked for questions for our podcast, and he was asking a question about Dean Smith, and I disagreed with it, so I quote tweeted him as a kind of a way to go, oh look everyone, look at this idiot, back me up kind of thing. Not. Again, that makes me sound bad, as if I'm trying to pile on him. That's not the case. But I thought, well, I'm having to deal with this guy in my mentions. Everyone else can deal with it as well. And he was having a go at me about being from the black country and I'm not old enough to have an opinion because I wasn't born till 95. And it's like, what are you doing? We're supposed to be on the same side. This was a fellow Villa fan having a go.
Yeah,
we've had that in the past.
I don't get much from Villa fans, I don't think. There's obviously one or two that have an agenda against me.
Yeah, there's always a few. Like when we did our live podcast in the summer and we had the playoff final trophy there was people that were against that as like you think you're showing off and you're bragging with the trophy. It's like, we're doing this as an event for Villa fans. We're raising money for charity. We're not doing this to like boost our own ego. Like, we're doing this to put something back into the community in some way. We've got an audience and we've got a fan base. Let's use that for good in some way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, a few people may think it is an ego thing, and you just want to be famous, so you make YouTube videos.
That couldn't be further from the truth.
Exactly.
For most people I know. I
don't care. It's just because I enjoy it. That is the only reason I do it. Is because I enjoy it and people seem to like it.
Do you think it's a jealousy thing?
Yeah.
I think people are jealous of that you're kind of well known and they're not. Maybe.
I think so. Not everyone's going to think, obviously, but the people that maybe hate on me from the Villa community, it probably is a bit of jealousy and things like that. But there's not much I can do about that. If you want to watch my stuff, fine. If you don't watch it. Doesn't bother me. But to send hate and stuff, just a bit weird.
So, to move away from this subject and something to a bit more positive, how do you branch out now? Because obviously you've got the mugs on show on the table here. You've got T-shirts and phone cases and all these different things. You've got a shop that you were talking about earlier that you've set up, and now kind of from the outside looking in with a bit of inside perspective, you're looking to turn this into a business essentially.
I think it already is a business with the shop. Yeah,
that's what I mean. We're starting with the shop.
Yeah.
So obviously YouTube, for people that don't know, you earn money from YouTube ads. It's usually pretty low.
It's not sustainable.
You couldn't live off it.
No.
It's below minimum wage by far, depending on views and stuff. Obviously your views were bigger than the Villa views at a certain time, so my numbers are off, but you kind of, in our experience, you have to cross a certain threshold, don't you, to be paid each month.
Yeah.
Occasionally, if you have a quiet month, we didn't even hit that threshold, so the money is not enough to go, oh yeah, well, we're doing the Villa View now, so I'm taking £20,000 into my bank account and Dan's having this amount and Tom's having this amount. Anyone who thinks that we earn enough money to do anything with off YouTube is a mug. Pardon the pun. It's just a little bit there that if you need to travel to an away game or an away ticket or something like that, you've got a bit of money to do something like that, but very little really. Like, we did a video in Sheffield United under Bruce when we got pumped there. And that was expensive to do that, and it takes a lot of money to do it, so when you're doing it every week, you have to look at it and firstly applaud it and go, fair play. Yeah,
I mean, going to away days is not cheap.
Yeah.
Coach, train, if you get the train, tickets are ridiculous in the Premier League these days. So I think the shop helps.
Yeah, so the YouTube money is nothing really to be concerned about. You can do sponsorship deals and stuff like that.
I don't think I've ever done that.
With companies and things like that, where they'll pay you X amount for a certain ad read or whatever it is, but you can also do merchandise where you set up your own sort of shop and you stick a logo on there or a catchphrase or whatever it is, and you want your audience who support you to financially support you. How was the initial reaction to that? Was there any kind of negative feedback to it? Yeah. Was there anyone kind of going, oh, well, you were doing it for free before, so why am I paying you now?
I don't think so. I think the only negative I can think of from the shop was someone on Twitter saying, I can't believe someone's paying this amount for this. And, there's always going to be... I think, again,
we had that.
That may come back to a jealousy thing. Like, I've got the success I have, and I'm utilising that in terms of a shop. I've made it as cheap as I possibly can to also get a little bit of profit out of it. I just want people to enjoy what I do and have a phone case, a little memento from the channel. And
the thing is, it's not about the product, is it? That when we did ours, we sold our mugs for £10, and we paid, I can't remember how much we paid for them, but you got postage as well, so you're probably taking home £3 or £4 per mug as profit.
Mine's less than that.
Really? Okay, maybe my figures are slightly off. So if we sell 500, if we sell 100, you've earned about £300 or £400.
Yeah.
And if you go to an away day and you've got to buy 3 tickets and travel, you're probably looking at about £200 for that.
Exactly.
So all those mugs have got you one video in return for that. So the money it takes to put in, if you're going to do big projects, you do need money to do that. It's less about, I'm going to buy a white mug with a logo on. It's, here's £10 to help you make videos, is how I looked at it. But some people looked at it as, £10 for a mug is ridiculous price. It's not about the mug though, is it? It's about helping us grow as a channel, and we're going to give you more content off the back of that.
Away days are expensive, and any sort of way that I can help fund that, and also helping people out with a new phone case or a new mug to have a cup of tea out of with the Villa on Tour logo on, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time designing it and setting up the website and things like that, and I just like the fact people send me photos of them and their new phone case, and they're really happy with it. So I've done well there in my opinion.
Nice.
And in any way it can help fund a very expensive away day, why not?
And you also got the equipment side of things as well. Like I know that you use, so some people think that you film on your phone. You use a small but a semi-expensive camera. You got laptops for editing equipment, all these kinds of things, and also your time goes into it. As much as there's no sort of price on your time, you're putting hours into going to games. Unless I know you're going to games, like, oh no, that must be so hard for you. But still, you're putting in that time that you don't have to do. You're putting in editing time, uploading, the behind the scenes nitty gritty work of tags and thumbnails and all this rubbish stuff, sharing things on social. Like, you're putting a lot of time into something. So if you're taking home some money as part of that because you've been successful enough to build a product that people care about, I applaud that.
Yeah, I think, I get home from a game and I'm straight on the laptop, plugging in the SD card, uploading it and things like that. And I'm not moaning, because that's the sort of thing that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But
how do you find the editing process?
I enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but we're losers, aren't we?
I think I do feel pressure on myself to get it out as fast as I can.
Yeah, I was like that.
But when I am free to, have the whole day to edit a video, I really enjoy it. Like tailoring it to how I want it to be and making it funny and putting in, memes or funny clips or things like that. That's what I enjoy, because at the end of the day, that's your sort of artwork and your piece that you're proud of.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it. That's what I enjoy, and that's why I do it.
Yeah, because there's a certain point in your life where you'll realise that you're not going to be a professional footballer, and the next best thing is finding another way into the football world. Now, for me, when I was in school, I loved media, film. Watching films. Like, I remember, if you buy a DVD, which you don't even do these days, do you? You buy DVDs. The disc where you get where it's just behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And it's like documentaries and special effects. I love all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm such a loser for that. I almost enjoy watching how they make a film over the film in some cases. So when I'm leaving college and I'm looking to find what my career is going to be at 17, 18, I want to work in football and I want to work in media. How do I get there? That's the kind of the plan, isn't it? So when you do fan media, you're not kind of held to a manager and a deadline and rotas and these kind of things. As much as my manager might be listening to this now, that I do enjoy it. You're your own boss, aren't you? And you get to do what you want, and you can craft it in a way that you makes you look best. So when you get to that point where you realise that the work you're doing in your own time is good enough to help provide a career, for me, you have to put all your eggs into that basket and try and make it so. You could kind of do Villa on Tour a little bit on the side and think, well, I'll just find a job doing something else. And if that's what you want to do, absolutely fine. But if you want to get into the industry and you've got a platform there that can help you get there, I don't see why you wouldn't utilise that to the best of its ability. And if you can make a bit of cash on the way, then happy days for everybody.
Yeah, that was my thought last year, because if people don't know, I did my A-levels in the summer of 2019.
Oh my God.
And I was thinking, right, I need to get a job now. There's a lot of pressure to get a job, but it's hard to get into, football and things like that. So it got to the point where Villa on Tour was pretty much taking off. So my mum and dad were like, take a year off and fully focus on it, and then you reevaluate at the end of the next year, and then
So that's the end of this season.
Yeah. And then see what you can possibly do then. So I'm just going to put everything into it, and like you said, you can create it to how you want in terms of thumbnails, video style, editing style, volume of videos, types of videos, things like that. So it really is down to you, and it's all down to you in terms of the success you get at the end of this season for me, and where that will take me.
So we're halfway through that season now. How do you kind of evaluate the last 6 months of doing this kind of full time?
Good. I've enjoyed it. I've had a lot more freedom. So if I was going to sixth form now, I couldn't have made a match review today, because I would have been at school, and then I would have got home and it would have been dark, and then the lighting equipment might not have been good enough. But now I've got all day to do a match review and take time to edit it without the pressure of I've got to get this out by 6 p.m. or anything like that. No, I've really enjoyed it. It's obviously like I said earlier, that the subscriber rate going up isn't as good as it was, because there isn't enough Villa fans in the world. But I'm enjoying it 100%. I love doing it, and long may it continue.
End of the season, let's say that you've found a job or whatever it is, and you say that's it, that's the end of Villa on Tour, and you're stopping it. What does your audience say to that? Are they happy for you? Are they sad?
A bit of both. I think maybe the younger people probably won't be happy. They want to see it continue, and they probably don't appreciate how hard it is to keep it going. But it does scare me a little bit, the thought of stopping it.
Really?
I'm just picturing making that video like the end of Villa on Tour. That does scare me.
Oh, you'll get some good views on that though.
Well, you got to look at the positives. That is probably the only positive of me stopping it. But yeah, like I said, it's like it's my thing, and I'm not going to give it to someone else so they can use it like the Villa View. Obviously, it was easy for the Villa View to sort of give it away, and because you've already got like a sort of team going there. But for me, it's just me, and I'm the only one that edits and uploads, and I know the way I like to do things. So stopping it is a little bit worrying. But there are other Villa vlogging channels that if I was to stop, maybe their success would increase. I'm not too sure, but it is a worrying thought. But hopefully that doesn't happen at any point soon, but we'll see. Cool.
Well, I enjoyed our little chat about YouTube and social media, mental health, all the rest of it. It's got pretty deep at times, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I liked it.
But yeah, thank you very much. So this is episode 1 of our little mini-series about fan media. I'm going to try and get a couple of the Villa fan channels involved and see if their thoughts similar to yours or differ to yours. So yeah, thank you very much for the chat. I'll shake your hand through the microphone. Thank you very much. Nice. If you've enjoyed listening to our little football ramble, leave us an iTunes review, leave a comment on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can. I would say subscribe to Max's, but he's got far too many numbers already, so don't even bother. If anything, get your guys over to us. We need
do my best.
Need some numbers. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thank you to Max for joining me, and we'll catch you again soon.
Nice one.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue and Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your thoughts and comments. We'll be back soon with another episode. Until then, up the Villa.